morning, everybody. It is July 15th, 2026. We are here together again, 10:30 for the UED, that's Urban and Economic Development Committee meeting. My name is Anthony Archie, Tulsa City Councilor for District 2, calling this meeting to order. But at the beginning of the meeting, we're going to make a little bit of an adjustment. Item number 17 and 18, which are the TIFs, we're going to address those after agenda item number 2. So that'll be very quick.
No objections here.
Is there any objections?
Nope.
All right, wonderful.
I don't know about the rest of y'all. No, I don't.
All right.
We'll be here all day anyway.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to try to get
This is
through
a
it.
long one.
Number 2, Whitney Schaefer, reappointment to the BOA Board of Adjustment. Term expires May 10th, 2029. You attended 29 out of 31 meetings from Council District 4. Welcome, Whitney. Would you just maybe introduce yourself to those who don't know you and talk a little bit about why you want to continue to serve?
Sure. Whitney Stauffer here. I'm over at Narrate Design by day and have really enjoyed, I have served the last 3 years on the Board of Adjustment and have really enjoyed that appointment. And when it was asked to continue, I'm happy to continue serving. I did not know that my attendance record would be front and center here. I'm glad that it was good. But that's evidence that I have taken the position very seriously. I think for the most part, to me, it's just, a lot of it is normal, everyday citizens that don't understand the process. And I very much identify with that and understand that. I think back to when I was a kid, and if my parents were trying to add on to the house or do something, they probably wouldn't have known that either. And so I'm happy to serve and be part of that process to help people good people just get things done the correct way in our city. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Anyone have any comments? Councilor Bellis.
Thanks for being down to continue serving and attending 29 meetings at least a year. I know it's a lot, but I appreciate that you're bringing that knowledge, your knowledge set from that kind of design planning perspective to the table. It's definitely needed. So thanks for carrying on.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Anyone else?
Oh wait, actually, sorry, a
Please,
follow-up
go
question.
ahead. Please, go ahead.
If you identify as people come to you all time and time again, a policy or some like thing that you're like, this people wouldn't have to be in front of us if you guys just did this one quick change, please let us know.
Absolutely. And we do, sometimes after a meeting, let city staff know, like,
Yeah.
hey, if we could bring this up, that'd be great. So
Yeah.
we do. Sometimes we see the same thing over and over again.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, let us know, like, actually, not to put you on the spot, do you have an example of one that you're like, this always comes up, no pressure?
No, you're fine. There were, for a short period of time, there were a lot of drive-throughs and queuing. And so someplace like, for instance, like a Chick-fil-A or something like that, that has a very long line, queuing it's impossible to only have queuing on a certain side of the building, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
wrapping around. That's one silly example, but ADUs, there's a lot of ADUs
Yeah.
right now.
Just do it by right.
Yes.
There's a lot of duplexes, requests for duplex.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do see. And then there'll be like a hot one for like more driveway width. Like we'll see that for like, a couple months and then that'll kind of die down. But it's all pretty standard stuff, I would say.
Thanks, that's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll continue to bring that up to you whenever we see things.
Thank you so much, Whitney. We will be voting on you next week, the 22nd of July. You're free to attend and speak
Okay.
if you'd like. You don't have to, but we'd love to hear from you if you want to. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
All right.
That's it for today.
Right.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Painless.
We are going to skip. We're going to invite Aaron personally to the table and do agenda item number 17. And can we combine 18 with it?
We can't,
Sarah?
well,
Or no?
it's up to you, sir. But actually, it's 16, 17, 18 that we're here for today.
So you say 16 and,
Yeah, 16 is Leverage Act.
oh, okay.
I think they're all pretty distinct items. I would just
All right.
take them one at a
One
time.
at a time.
So starting with 16.
Well, let's start on 16 then.
Well, if you don't mind, sir, before we get started, I'd like to invite my fellows just to come to stand up really quickly and introduce themselves.
All right, fellows.
These are my two fellows I have for the summer. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Melina Hassan. It's a privilege of being
in the house.
Thank
Thank you for being here. Awesome.
And of course, I asked my family to come up here now. Mike, Mike is here. All right, thank you. All right, let me read the agenda item. Resolution authorizing submission of an application for state matching payment pursuant to the Oklahoma Local Development and Enterprise Zone Incentive Leverage Act. This is for the Philcade project, and it carries the emergency clause. Mike Dickerson from Partner Tulsa, Aaron Presley from, did you see Sarah kick him out from the Senate?
oh, I didn't, I was reading it.
Watch out,
You
Counselor.
can't see
McKenzie.
him.
Balance.
okay, I won't.
That's
And
Cross the line.
I'm
Oh, you got like-
adversely possessed this area today.
All right, please.
I probably should be quick, so I apologize. So this is the Leverage Act application to the state for the Philcade project. This simply, the state matches the taxes that are being paid up to a certain percentage by the city for this project. I think the estimate for the state match over 25 years is around $20 million, give or take. Yes. So this is clearly just to say, can we move forward the application to get those state matching funds for this project?
Any questions?
And by the way, just in case you need more information about that, I do have a one-pager on what that program is all about, so please feel
Is
free.
it about
You wanna
getting
pass
state
it
money?
around?
It's about getting state money. Gotta love that.
Sure. Want to take advantage of it. Any questions or concerns? All right, let's move along to item number 17.
Item number 17.
Resolution declaring the intent to consider approval of a project plan and creation of one or more tax increment districts under the Local Development Act for the area located between East 51st Street South and the South Mingo and East 61st Street South and South Sheridan Road, directing preparation of a project plan, appointing a review committee, directing the review committee to make findings as to eligible financial impact, if any, on taxing jurisdictions and business activities within any proposed district. Is that good enough?
Yes, it's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So this really is for what we're calling the South Memorial TIF. Imagine you're at 61st and Memorial, that beautiful theater that's there at Eaton Square. We're talking about that area there. This is simply to start the process of getting the Local Development Review Act Committee together to start the process of reviewing the project plan and moving forward. And I'd love to have Councilor Dr. Wright talk about
Thank you.
this.
Yes, counselors, in the backup documents that we got on Friday, there was just the resolution language, but since then, the map that you see on the screen now was uploaded to your backup. Could we zoom in a little bit on that? Is it possible? The back is, no, it's online. It was not. probably put
Councilors,
up-
I
That's a
have,
redraft.
Oh, can
I
we get
have
it?
copies
Yeah, let's
of
just hand them
the
out.
preliminary,
Yeah.
extremely preliminary
Yeah.
plan here.
Now, I had seen this prior to it being on our agenda, and I apologize that I did not notice that it was missing from backup either until media started calling me. I went, the maps are missing. So anyway, yes, as, Mr. Persley said,
Yes.
you just be passing it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. If you know where Eaton Square is, 61st and South Memorial corridor that you can see here, it's going from Sheridan all the way over. So it's not just Memorial, but I understand why we're calling it Memorial. So it's just to give yourself an orientation of this zone. If you look at what's on the schedule here, the purple area A is what longtime Tulsans know as Eaton Square. The new ownership has really done a lot of investment. We got to have a good tour over there. We took Representative Melissa Provenzano with us because it's also her district. That's where that Aldi is. There's a pet supply store. The new ownership has a very high level, lots of square footage, high-end furniture, anchor store unit there now, a virtual golf club, for lack of a better term for that, if you're interested in that kind of thing. And then, you know, they're gonna have other services and retailers moving in there. There's also a plan for an office, shared office.
Correct.
Co-working space. So there's already been a ton of investment in that area, and I do see Counselor America here, and I know you shepherded the whole 61st and Memorial Road project intersection, all of that. So this is just an area that has had investment over the year, but I think the pandemic didn't help. And then if you look at yellow area B, that's our formerly known as Vista Shadow Mountain apartment complex, and we don't need to beat a dead horse about what that property has done to the area. And we'll have some discussion today about it, because in the resolution language, it specifically names that property, and I know there was some confusion about whether that property becomes a beneficiary of these dollars, or how that all works. So I don't know if Aaron or Mike wanted to
Me
address
too.
that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Counselor. Mike Dickerson, partner Tulsa. When the counselor reached out to me about concerns about the wording of the resolution, it is describing the general area, and that particular apartment complex was formerly known as Vista Shadow Mountain. It's just a point reference. It is not setting forward any potential beneficiary of the increment that is being collected, but we saw that as an opportunity site for generation of increment. So as that failed apartment complex is redeveloped, we see values increasing over there. Whether it is the current owner and developer doing that, or somebody else who comes in the future, we see that as an opportunity site, and that's why it's highlighted there as an increment generator. The dashed line on the map that's on the screen and in the exhibit, that is the project area where those dollars can be spent. So we aren't looking to incentivize necessarily that project. We're looking to incentivize the entire area for redevelopment. So,
Can I just clarify too, because I'm getting some questions. If you look at the map right now, the far left border is South Sheridan Road. The far right border is South Mingo Road. The one that's in the middle is South Memorial. And then on the north side, horizontally, that's East 51st Street. And on the south side, it's East 61st Street. So you see the green kind of undeveloped area, that's Memorial Park. Just for those of you who don't spend all your time in southeast Tulsa. Yeah, but,
West side.
yeah, so, but Union, Public Schools,
in Tulsa Public Schools.
Tulsa Public Schools, but Union Public Schools has their 6th, 7th grade center in this corridor. Just to try to give you guys an idea, and it does border districts 5 and 9 to the north side. Sorry, people are just asking me like, which one's Memorial?
Yes,
But- but
this
how-
is a very preliminary exhibit. You know, what we're here today to request is just your authorization to proceed forward to craft a version of this exhibit that I gave you, to then move through the statutory process. So this would allow us to convene the local Development Act Review Committee, which has all those taxing entities that are affected by the properties inside that, the boundaries here, and really build out a project plan for moving forward. So this is a very, very preliminary draft that you're seeing here. It can change significantly as we move forward.
How the increment funds are used would be determined by the project agreement.
Correct.
So potentially, then a new developer could receive some of those, but not necessarily.
Correct,
Okay.
and just like all of the other TIF districts that we oversee, we would set forward a very strict review process and application process for any TIF award, whether that was for the city to come through and want to use TIF funding to put up new signage or streetscaping projects and be a recipient of it, or if it was for a private developer to come forward and do the same, like out in front of their establishment. You know, we would set forward a process that we would adhere to, and make, everything would be public, of course, like all of ours are.
Counselor Hall Harper?
Will the counselor for that district still be involved at that level?
Yes,
'Cause
yes, and
normally
that's,
after we do that, you know,
so that
my
is
experience, we don't have
determined.
a lot of conversations about it after it's done, so.
Yes, Counselor, as we are starting and in the process of developing this draft project plan, that is one of the items that can be memorialized inside of the plan.
So it's not
As far
automatic?
as, no, it's not automatic.
Okay,
It-
so it'd be-
Every TIF project is slightly different, yeah. yeah.
But Counselor, to the point, we have opportunity to make it automatic. We can do exactly
I think we should make that a practice, given past histories.
Right. The council needs to be involved in those decisions.
And we're looking at new guidelines for incentives right now, and so we can definitely put that into our new incentive
And
regulations.
add a community engagement element too, because we just don't want community members to be reading about stuff in the paper.
Town hall, you have town hall there.
Right.
We always try to meet with the area stakeholders before we're doing anything big and let them be aware. It depends on the area, whether we
Sure.
get much participation, of course, but
Well, I think you'll always
we
get
always try.
more participation if your counselor's involved, and I just
Absolutely.
do wanna acknowledge that in past projects, that's not always been the case. I haven't experienced that in District 7, but I'm uplifting what I'm hearing here from my colleague.
Counselor Harper, any additional comments? Counselor Lakin?
I'm glad that the boundaries aren't set yet. As you know, in South Tulsa, somebody decided that we are going to develop the corners, all four corners of every major intersection at some point. And so, it seems like balancing those intersections and trying to generate both increment and opportunity would make sense, so that we don't have like 1/4 of an intersection that drastically is better because of the TIF versus the other 3 corners, which is what we have playing out. I know there have to be start and end points, but I think about all 6 of those major intersections in this area, and I think of all the opportunity and need for those to be made better in a lot of ways, and for them to be able to maybe produce increment and also receive, and for needed infrastructure to be built and carried forward there too. So,
To Counselor Lakin's.
you'll tell us at some
yeah.
point how you gerrymander or how you pick the district, so that there can be as much benefit for especially those commercial corridors as
To
possible.
your point, that west corner is the farm shopping center, just so you have another kind of.
Yeah, that's inside of it.
Yes, that's inside it.
Yeah,
Um,
but across the street,
Inside of the project area.
inside the project area.
yeah, but across the street, Caddy Corner
Right.
is a huge shopping center that
Is,
used to be alive and well, and
yeah,
is not
Fontana,
well at all.
right? Is that what it's called, Fontana? So,
Manchester,
You talking about a memorial?
Is it Manchester?
on Sheridan,
I think it's Fontana.
Fontana,
It is
okay.
Fontana.
Fontana's on
Memorial, sorry, Memorial and
Yeah.
51st. What's that Sheridan? There's another one at Sheridan and 51st that's
On the northwest
kind of
corner,
out
I
of
don't,
Walgreens and,
Yeah.
different things.
Oh, that's on my side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
this TIF is also going to benefit District 5 and potentially
Yeah.
District 9, I think, over here, so.
and a theater there, I can't remember what it's called, seems like it started with an F. Yeah,
Park Plaza?
I don't know, we need Tulsa
Also
trivia
not
people.
a-
There we go.
Is this
I-
over by the sputter?
I know that
Yeah, yeah.
it's across
that's
the
right.
street from the Sputter.
Across the
Yeah.
street, yes, to the
Anyone
west.
else?
And then it turned into a trade school.
No, it's good.
Now
No,
it's a
this is,
dental-
this is.
Yeah, just so you get an idea
For
of
sure.
kind of.
Sorry, just going down
where in
memory
town
lane
it is, 'cause I know
there.
y'all don't spend all your time
I
over
go to
there.
that Lenny's over there for a big
Yeah.
sub sandwich. All right,
I'm big on
any
sushi
other
there.
comments? Counselor Deputy Ray?
Yeah, I
How
just,
long ago it was.
I do wanna clarify what I
Peaches.
heard here, and
Across the street from,
so 6100 South Memorial is the apartment complex that shall no longer be named.
Vista.
I wanna be very, very clear that I do not want the current ownership to benefit in any way, shape, form, or fashion of any more public dollars. It's already cost our community dearly. What I did hear is if a different developer were there, or a different idea were there, there would be maybe some consideration, but it would be with a lot of community engagement and with whoever sits in the District 7 seat. So I just wanna expressly state that, that's what I heard here today. Of course, if we pass a resolution that says they're included, there is potential that things could change and there could be an idea that the current developer would ask for dollars. So I just wanna be very clear that I'm saying, as long as I live here, I will oppose that whether I'm in this seat, not in this seat, a neighbor, or whatever. If I live in a different country, I'll fly back and definitely speak to it, so.
Heard and
So
acknowledged.
how do you really
Yes.
feel?
Counselor, I would just like to say in response to that,
Yeah.
that, you know, the resolution that we're asking for today just gives us the ability to move forward with building this. And with respect to that particular development that you were just referencing, try not to name them.
I gotcha.
They are already doing work. So
Oh, yeah.
one of the things that we use whenever we're evaluating projects is what's commonly called the but-for test. So but for the incentive, the project would not be happening. The project there is already happening. We're just seeking to use that as the catalytic project to capture increment.
Sure.
What that means, though, is they would not pass that but-for test. So
Okay.
the current owner in the current path that they're moving forward, that would not qualify for benefit.
Great.
Now, if it were to not succeed and somebody else were to have to take that on, that may qualify and it may not. We would just evaluate that at that time.
Okay. I just really wanted to clarify that, because I know we only had the resolution language until these maps, so, and I had seen it all ahead of time, so I apologize for not double checking that you all had the same information. And, I guess we can talk about number 18 if you'll read it.
Yes.
Well,
Oh, well,
I
yeah.
wanted to go back to 16 for a second, after I read this. So is this something that we're re-upping, or does this not exist currently?
No, the Leverage Act has always been there. We're just
Yes.
accessing that program at the state level. It's already there.
You have to make application for each instance.
So my question is, has the city of Tulsa made application before, and we're just renewing?
Not for this project, no. This is a new
So
project.
you do it per project?
Per project,
Yes.
yes. Each project has to apply for,
Individually, and this is the
Individually.
field aid, okay.
yes, ma'am.
But the act and the opportunity itself has been in existence
Yes,
for
ma'am.
Yes.
years,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Yes,
I was just getting a clarification on that.
Okay.
I didn't know if this was a new tool.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else on 16 or 17?
And just for clarification, please remember that the counselor for the district is the chair of the LDARC, so she'll be
Sure.
involved in this process from beginning to end.
Right, the whole time. Counselor Dutton?
Yeah, I'd like to meet with you, Aaron, in regards to who can use it. Enterprise zone, economically distressed or high unemployment areas. I think that's something that could be applicable for my district.
Okay.
And I would really like to capture any extra funds that might be utilized.
If you're in an enterprise zone.
Right,
Yeah, so it would be a project
which is the
applying
airport, right?
in the enterprise zone. Yes,
The airport would be an enterprise zone.
yes, it is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay,
Could you all get us a list based on districts, our enterprise zones?
yeah.
Yes,
That-
ma'am.
that would be really
We
helpful.
actually, our newest staff member, John Tankard, is actually working on maps
That guy?
for all of the
Who's
council
that?
districts. So,
Okay,
Oh, okay, and then the military growth impact area, that would also
all of
include
it.
the National Guard in my district.
It's just good to know.
Okay.
I would like to have it at, right, easily for district.
Yeah,
one.
I agree.
That I can
Got
just
it.
say, these are the enterprise
So
zones.
you'll
or
get that,
whatever.
you'll get those two.
Yes, sir.
Well, wonderful. Okay, number 18, resolution declaring the intent to consider approval of a project plan and creation of one or more tax increment districts under the LDA for the area located near East 71st and US 169 and Mingo between 81st and 91st, directing preparation of a project plan, appointing a committee, and directing that committee to make findings as to the eligibility and financial impact, if any, on the taxing jurisdictions.
I'll just say a quick 1-2 and then hand over to Councilor Dr. Wright. So this is the area on 169 and 71st, that Lowe's area, behind that Lowe's area that was a unhoused encampment that will now be a very nice retail area for that. There are already 2.5 restaurants that have signed up to be in that.
2.5?
2.5.
Okay.
We're still working on one contract.
It's got a
2.5. 2.5 have signed up so far to be part of that project. Along with this, that's District A of this TIF. District B is a housing, that's 300 units of multifamily housing, 1 to 4 bedroom units that'll be in that housing complex. And so that's what this TIF area covers, and this LDOT committee will be meeting on to make the actual plan for that
Yes.
TIF district.
Those are affordable, projected to be affordable housing units as well.
So this map is labeled so you can see 91st, 71st, 81st, little kind of pork chop type thing. So A is where the encampment was, behind Lowe's. It's a public-private partnership. If you have questions, you can ask Director America too. But Counselor Lakin and I have been working on this with all the entities for some time. Right after I came into office in 2018 and Counselor America became Director America, she found herself in an opportunity to match our 30 acres with 30 acres of privately held land that the Chapman Family Foundation had donated to Legacy Land Trust. And then Mr. Easley, Steve Easley, who is the developer on this project that won the RFP, has purchased land. So now we're talking close to 70 acres. So just for level set, the gathering place is about the same size or maybe around the same size.
100 acres, yeah.
Or the current.
66.
Yeah, the current part that we know as a gathering place. So it's a huge transformative project, not just for the district, but for the whole region. This is the major retail corridor. For those of you who are here for the Shields TIF, that abuts this, so now you can start to see where we're having these, we don't have opportunity zones, but we have kind of these areas that we're focusing in on that abut each other to really uplift the area. And I'm so excited that we're finally reimagining and revitalizing a part of town that is so crucial for our retail sales tax, general fund dollars. Right now, undeveloped ag land will be generating, if we get these national businesses in, which Mr. Easley is very committed to doing, will start generating some dollars, which for many, many years has not happened on that land specifically. Obviously, the retails in front have been impacted by an regulated encampment that at some times would have up to 50 people living out there. So the Mingo Trail runs along 169, so that will become more activated as the green space trails and things get built out. If you want to look at B, just to level set, that is Meadowbrook Country Club right there at 81st and South Mingo, and increment B there, we rezoned to mixed-use corridor a few years ago. The parcel to the north of it is also rezoned mixed-use corridor, and just for a point of reference, to the east is where you have the Ernest Childers Veterans Center, Hillcrest South, and then across the highway there, St. Francis Health is doing a lot. So this area in 91st is going under a major widening right now. Thankfully, we're ahead of schedule. And a few months ago, that portion of South Mingo that you're looking at here with increment B is where we are putting the sidewalks in with the community development funds, and PSO just has lit up that corridor for the, I think there's new lights every 20 yards on that corridor. So I do want to say for the existing neighbors there, there's a lot of transformation happening in a part of town that was largely undeveloped, and I know that that's growing pains. Full disclosure, that backside of that yellow right there is my neighborhood. So a lot of that is Little Hickey Creek, natural detention, we have the butane transport line through there. There's a lot of different elements in this corridor, but it's a desirable location. It's close to healthcare, it's close to retail and jobs. And so having this workforce housing going in, I think it's 300 units?
300, yes.
300 units with a trusted partner. Thank you, Jeff Hall, for connecting us with that person and those people. I think we're gonna see a lot of change in this corridor that is needed, and I know it's growing pains for those who have been there 20, 30, 40 years. So I'm trying to balance the interest of everyone while not limiting what this could do for this part of town. One final thing I'll say is this right here at 81st is the TCC Southeast Campus. So, we want to make sure that we preserve green space. You can see there's a lot of concrete. We don't have as much tree canopy as those of you in other parts of town. I know it's real easy to say South Tulsa has everything. We also have more traffic, less trees, less sidewalks, and things like that are quality of life issues. So,
Less 4-lane roads.
Wonder how they got built there.
yes, so we can leave the 4-lane road debate up, but that South Mingo I will be pushing for the next Approve Our Tulsa package to get widening on that road, just from a safety standpoint. It's kind of a country road in the middle of all of this modern urban, suburban area. So, if you have any questions, certainly let us know.
I will make one more point.
Meadowbrook, one final thing, Meadowbrook has, over the years, been a question of people close to the country club and not so close. As I understand it, has been purchased for development into housing at some point. It's not gone through zoning, but people always ask, what's going on with Meadowbrook? So it was sold for housing pre-pandemic. Those developers have then since sold it to other housing developers that also have a commercial element, and so ongoing talks about what happens with Meadowbrook is still going on, and I just wanna be very upfront with you all and neighbors that, you know, it's probably not always gonna be a golf course. So,
Is
thank
it
you.
still a golf course?
It is,
Open?
during the pandemic, they decided to still be a golf course, and, you know, everyone wanted to be outside and safe, so it's actually done quite well because of the pandemic. But again, these neighbors for a long time have lived in properties that back up to the country club, and it's probably going to get eventually developed and rezoned and developed for housing.
Any questions or thank you for that.
Uh-huh.
comprehensive. Counselor Bangle?
I like this corridor. So the fact that you're putting those sidewalks in there, so
Yeah.
you're spending that money in that, because that is a nice corridor. The northeast corner, you said that's a golf course? Or,
At 81st and South
I didn't even
Main,
know there was a golf course
Yeah,
over there.
It's been there for
has a
years.
significant history.
Yeah, I never knew that.
It was the golf course in town where the Jewish population was welcome to golf at a time where they weren't welcome in other
But
areas.
was it previously inactive?
No, it's always been active. I just think over the years, it's been the place everyone went to, and then maybe, you know, more options existed and less restrictions of where people could golf. I'm not trying to.
Is it a private or a city one?
It's private,
private.
but
Okay, that's
I
why I
think
don't
it's
know
important to
about it.
understand the history is Jewish golfers and residents went there because they were not welcome in other places. So
Sure.
there's a history there, that should be acknowledged. And then I do think, you know, membership maybe was waning, before the pandemic, but during the pandemic, it picked back up. And it has, you know, the once a year 4th of July celebration, fireworks, and all the things that you would imagine that a country club would have. Right here, this is the country club. And then the pieces to the south are agricultural and undeveloped, but those two, we've rezoned mixed-use corridor. And then the one at the far south, I think there's another medical partner that kind of staked their claim on it because you have St. Francis and Hillcrest across the street, and so it's like, well, we need to be in the corridor to compete. I don't know what they plan to do with it, but, you know, this is a regional medical corridor and a regional, center for jobs and services, so that's kind of, it's taken us 40 years to get here, but here we are with these little patches of green that are probably going to be developed. Parcel A intentionally with a lot of preservation of trails, park elements, it's not going to be a nature preserve like you see at Turkey Mountain or Mohawk Park. It'll probably be more of an urbanized park experience, but it will have trails, it will have playground elements and green space, because that's part of the deal on the public-private partnership. The other piece of why we need retail to support it is, as you know, it's very costly for us to maintain our parks and our infrastructure, and the retail elements will be in a shared maintenance agreement so that we're smarter about how we take care of these 70 acres for now and in the future.
That's great.
Very good.
And one last point, because I always go back to numbers. The tax generation from this project is quite impressive. So you're talking about the fact that it's going to, project costs $173 million for this project, and a generation of $251 million in tax generated from this project, estimated at this point right now. So the ROI is
Yes.
great on this project.
And then just again, the Shields project is not in this,
Is
but
that over the life of the
yeah, it's
incentive?
just
Yes,
over.
yes, 25
The
years.
25
One more.
years.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
here.
Counselor, go ahead. You would.
Yeah, I just wanna, we're stacking that on the Shields TIF, retail sales tax only TIF that we all know now is doing what we wanted it to do. So this is the
What is Shields?
Shields, the,
I'm just kidding.
oh. I mean, I will just say that, I think that was a creative use of TIF in a way that we hadn't done as a city before, and we're seeing how it's starting to lead to this synergy. And to Mr. Pursley's point, you know, to have Mr. Easley come in, a local, he's a local, he has successful projects in Broken Arrow and Bixby and all around, you know, this is the kind of thing we wanna see. So, I'm very hopeful. I do wanna acknowledge it is gonna be growing pains, especially for those that live closest to it all. There's a lot of apartments close to increment A, and there's a lot of existing single-family residential close to increment B. And not everyone's super excited to have all the green space around them not exist anymore, but we're trying to be as intentional as possible. There's a lot of preservation just because of Little Hickey Creek. So to create buffers, we were very intentional on that zoning.
Love it. Anyone else? Mike and Aaron, thank you all for being with us.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
All right. So they're telling me that Susan Miller has a time commitment. Is that right?
Last one.
And no, we want to
That's what
honor.
happens when we don't meet for 2 weeks.
That's right. We're gonna
Oh, yeah.
but I want to invite her up. Those of you
What number are we on?
We are on number 4. I'm going to read. Well, yeah. Let me.
No.
Well, if Miller
Without
has.
objection,
Yeah,
you
let's
can
take the zoning stuff.
Yeah, if Miller has.
start at 7.
So, thank you all, everyone. We'll send her right back in. So what we'll do, number 7 starts Miller's, part of the, agenda. So let's read number 7, and we'll get to it. Rezoning application Z7862 from RS3 to CG for property located, east of the northeast corner of South Harvard and 27th Avenue South, requested by Robert Galansky, Jr., from the Galansky Trust. TMAPC voted 8-0 to recommend approval. This is in Council District 4.
So this is a lot, some of you are familiar with this area, just off, that's the eastbound ramp really onto the Broken Arrow Expressway from Harvard. There's already some warehouse, there's a big red car barn back there. This request is to CG really for an expansion of, so the big warehouse or building to the west, this is the same owner. It's really a personal warehouse. Again, I think it's a car collection, like the big one, the big red one on the south side. It's really just for, not more building necessarily, but parking and other property to support his personal, warehouse there. So it's really about all it is. It is a unique street since it does empty out onto the Broken Arrow Expressway. So, it's really, this is a multiple use land use designation, so it's not a residential land use designation. It was unanimously recommended for approval.
Thank you. Councilor Gilbert?
Can he fix that on-ramp to the Broken Arrow Expressway is like one of the worst ones.
Maybe we'll see, yeah.
Councilor Bangle?
Do you know if they're gonna pave that or if they're gonna use gravel or something else?
They're not, they wouldn't be able to use gravel if they, to
Would
use,
they be able to get an exception?
they could ask for one.
That's why I'm asking the question, because you're saying they're gonna turn it into potentially a
Parking lot, right. In fact, the concept, which is just that now, would be pavement and covered parking. So,
Okay.
it'd be something even more improved than just the surface.
Back to Councilor Gilbert.
No, I'm good.
All right. Councilor Bangle? Oh,
Nope, I'm done.
Okay, very good.
Ping pong.
All right. Anybody else? Moving on to number 8, rezoning application Z7863 from RS3 and CS to CG for property located west of the northwest corner of East 11th and Garnett, requested by Jesus Vega. TMAPC voted 10-0 to recommend approval.
Okay, so this is, I'll get started. I know Counselor Dutton will probably want to speak on this one. This is a couple of acres along Route 66. It is a single parcel with 2 different zoning districts. So the request is to change the entirety of the zoning to CG, the portion, the portion along Route 66 is CS. And they want to change the CS and the RS3, all of that to CG. So his intent, and there's not a lot of detail, I'm not sure he fully knows what he wants to do at this point in time. Warehouses, he does mention in the event center, which of course is Counselor Dutton's
Bane.
So that's kind of really what we know. It is a very heavily commercial corridor. Let me show you that. you know, there's a lot going on out there. I can't remember how long ago it was now, you approved the pool business, that's to the east. To the west is, we're not really sure what that is, it's a lot of stuff, and some of it sits in residential, so there's, you know, definitely issues on whatever going on to the west of this, but, this is where the property sits.
Mhm. Counselor Dutton, you want to speak to this?
Yeah, I spoke with Mr. Vega on the phone yesterday in regards to postponing this until he returns back. He's going to be out of the country for 3 weeks, so we'd like to go ahead and postpone the vote on this and then address it upon his return. The event center issue was probably my biggest concern. I'm working currently on ideas to have stricter regulations for event centers based on the past issues that we've had with juveniles drinking drugs and whatnot. So he was willing to go ahead and postpone it.
Are you thinking that we would bring it back for another committee discussion
Mhm.
in?
Yeah, in about 3 weeks or
Okay.
so, yeah. I plan on meeting with Sarah and Jack to discuss.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, moving right along, number 9, rezoning application 7864 from RS3 to RM3 for property located at the northwest corner of East 46th North and North Peoria, requested by Justin Burian from Wallace Design, Council District 1. TMAPC voted 10-0 to recommend approval.
Okay, this one is currently RS3. This, I think, is a really good piece of property. I'm glad that they're developing this. So this sits, this is quite a large piece of property for, you know, an big infill piece of property. Want to rezone to RM3. The traffic study shows that they're planning about 112 units. I think the concept is just 2-story walk-up apartments, so 112 of those units on the site. You know, it's a good location. It's near the BRT line. It's already has channelized sort of stormwater system. It's near the trail. There's a lot of good things about this location.
Councilor Hall Harper?
No, I don't know anything about it. Who's on it?
Who's the owner? The owner is somebody from Las Vegas, Rodrigo. The applicant taking it through is Wallace Design.
I have his contact information. Yeah, okay. What type of housing?
Apartments, low-rise, walk-up apartments, 2-story,
Market rate?
probably,
Yes?
as far as I know.
Okay. I'd still like to talk to him.
Anyone else?
Give me his contact information so I can
It's
check.
probably
don't see it.
at the top of that page on your left. At the very top.
Very
Flip
top.
over.
On the
The
front of
page
that.
that you were looking at.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
reading it. No, it just have the Wallace.
No, look right below that. See owner.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Anyone
Thank
else?
you.
Any comments? All right. Number 10, rezoning application Z7865 from OM to CS for property located at the northwest corner of 31st and Sandusky, requested by Nathalie Cornett, Eller and Dietrich, Council District 4. TMAPC voted 10-0 for approval.
So this is, I'm sure you're all familiar with this piece of property. It is a True Value hardware store. It's zoned OM. No one would have ever known because I don't know how they got to do retail in OM, but it's been there for so long. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. So the request is, so that hardware store has now gone out of business. So if you've gone by there recently, you've seen, I think it says for lease. The concept there is a gym. Someone's talking about doing a gym in that space, which needs commercial. So that's why we have a request to CS on this property. There are some other, a building facing east that has some other small things in it, like a restaurant. I think there's a photo screening plays. So those businesses are still there too. So it's really just bringing the zoning into what has existed on this site for decades.
Any questions or concerns, Counselor? Okay. All right, this next one feels like a homecoming. Number 11, rezoning applications, 7866 RS3 and AG, from RS3 and AG to RS4 with an ODP for property located at the southeast corner of 101st and Florence, requested by Tanner Consulting, property of Life Tabernacle United Pentecostal Church. TMAPC voted 10-0 to recommend approval. RS4 rezoning with an optional development plan.
Next one is related to.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so number 12, we'll put them together. Resolution number 2964 of the TMAPC pursuant to Title 19, amending the comprehensive plan by adopting an amendment changing the land use designation from multi-use to neighborhood on approximately 9.58 acres for property located at 101st and Florence, requested by Tanner Consulting in District 2/8. TMAPC voted 10-0 to approve.
Okay, so there's a lot to this. I won't go into the history unless you want to afterwards. So this isn't very unique in many ways. One is it is split by council districts. It is RS3, is that right? RS3 and AG. So, you know, we know the history of doing something other than residential. The neighbors did not like that idea. They came back for a residential request, so they want to do RS4, which are a minimum of 50-foot wide lots. However, I'll just kind of skip to that part for now. However, the concept, and there's a lot of floodplain that goes through this site, so this is really a maximum. I'm not sure they could even really get this many with, it depends on, you know, how they handle that on the site. So really, the vast majority of these lots are 60 foot, and I think it says that in the footnote on the left at the bottom, something to that effect about the lot size. I think some of the corner lots may not quite meet the 60 feet, maybe 58 or 57 or something like that. So I think that's why they went to RS4 to just help with that, so they don't have to go get a variance for all of those lots. So I think, you know, the neighbors, we did not hear from one neighbor in the process, so that was not expected necessarily, but
They had a meeting with the neighbors.
Yeah.
so-
yeah, they had a meeting, so I assume,
We received positive feedback from,
okay.
and no negative feedback.
Isn't that something? Question about the floodplain. I read in the backup material, at one point, so, I mean, obviously, you can see the pictures of kind of a floodplain, but there was work from the Vincent Creek Management, the master drainage plan that has corrected some of that?
Yeah, I think they're gonna still have some more work to do to,
There's a map in there.
yeah.
somewhere.
Right. I just, I didn't know if it had been corrected or they're just in the process of.
Yeah, I mean, as they develop to get approval and as they plat and develop the property, they're gonna have to figure out how to accommodate the drainage and the floodplain that's there. So that's still a lot of work to be done.
Go two more up. Oh, maybe it's
on
not in
this
your,
one?
well, maybe it's not in your
No, it's not
presentation,
in
it's
mine.
just in the packet.
Oh, okay.
But it has like the
There's a
water
lot
on
of
there.
work on that.
The
Oh,
weight.
right,
Mhm.
right. Yeah, it's a lot, so they'll have to work through that as they develop the site.
All right. Any questions? Counselor Lakin?
So for the ODP, for that picture
Oh,
that you showed
yeah.
us with the homes and the lot sizes, what must they adhere to with respect, since it is an ODP?
Okay, thank you for asking that, I didn't say it. So ODP is only for private streets.
Okay.
So they will have private streets that, you know.
So
with
it can
the gate
become
over.
more dense to the RS4 standards with 50-foot wide lots?
Right. This is the concept they're showing, but there's nothing to, yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
so they could put, I don't know how many are on there, 32?
36, maybe?
Oh, yeah, it goes backwards in the middle.
Mhm.
So it could end up with 40 or,
It could, I think the floodplain's gonna really restrict
Yeah.
that, but yes, that's right. Conceptually, it could be
Okay.
more.
and then our last ODP that we were considering had screening, lighting, transparency and some other elements. The lighting is not going to be an issue here because
Right.
lighting is to residential standards, right? We don't need to say
Right.
lighting has to not be shown in
Right.
some general direction. What about screening?
So there's no, well, and I know you're not asking me this, but the ODP, or there's no screening requirements between single family and single family. You can tell, you know, on the east, there's really no single family that comes up to it. On the west, there is. So it's really just a single family neighborhood next to a single family neighborhood. So we definitely wouldn't see that as something that needed screening.
Okay, the standard will be that they're gonna put in some kind of wall or
Probably,
fences
just-
or something
right.
like that, just like the other neighborhoods to
Right.
the east and west.
Mhm.
Anything we're leaving out that are typical
Um,
for ODPs for something like this?
No, not since it's single family next to single family, no, we don't usually have any real extra standards in those cases.
Good.
I will say, just because it's another part, we don't need to talk about it too much, but the comp plan amendment, you know, Lori always puts on the agendas about the 45-day, if it's not acted on, the comp plan amendment is automatically approved. That's what happened last time, because it was pulled offline, a lot more discussions happened. In the middle of that, this was approved for multiple use, now they're going back to neighborhood, so that's really just,
Yeah.
you know, going back to reflect what they were before and what they're gonna do now.
And then go back to that one that we were just on.
Oh, the
What happens
layout?
to the, yes, what happens to the gate to the north? I know you have to have two entrances
Yeah,
and
this is
exits.
an emergency access gate.
Oh, okay.
So it stays closed most of the time?
Yes,
Okay.
make sure that's right.
The fire.
Does-
Right, a fire gate.
Does that mean that residents can go in or out, or does that mean that they can't go in or out?
Not sure how those work.
It's an
Who-
emergency.
The
who
emergency,
manages?
so I'm sure the residents have access to get out if they have to. I don't know how those work.
I don't think it's meant as a, usually
Right,
those
a
are
clicker
just,
thing,
yeah,
yeah.
as a
That's what I
necessary.
thought, sir. That's what I thought as well, but sometimes it just creates, I don't want, if two cars are going in on 101st, regardless of which direction they're going, and they can go in that gate, then it could create traffic issues compared to driving in on Florence, where you probably stack 10 cars.
Right, and you can even just tell it, yeah, it's not designed for ingress, egress.
Right.
Well, can we, there we go, that's my friend. I was like, what? This is mine. Well, I always get one.
There you go.
Some hangry people over there.
Um,
Keep on going, Councilor.
How do we limit it so that it's not used for,
Let me
Cut
kind of
whatever.
go back and find out more about that.
okay,
And I'll let you all know.
okay.
Most of those emergency gates are meant specifically for first responders, not
Oh, I know, but
for-
I have one in
I-
Sun Meadow that,
Right.
They are using
not-
it as egress.
Right.
Okay.
into another neighborhood.
Oh.
And it's a point of contention for the neighborhood, for residents in both neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's better to just set expectations and make it very, very
Part of
explicit right
the
now.
covenants or something. Yeah.
Just in the ODP.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, I'll look
Yeah.
at that.
Anything else, Councilor Lakin?
No, sir.
Councilor Hall Harper?
Did I hear, did I hear you say there's some private streets?
Private streets
It's gated.
But the streets themselves,
will be private, so they'll have to
So
be,
we'd have
they'll
to
be
maintain them.
maintained by the homeowners association, not the city.
so my understanding, and this may have changed, that when the streets are private, the developer is not required to build them to the code.
No, they have to build, even private streets, they have to build them to city standards. That, I don't think that used to be the
I
case,
know
or
it
at least
didn't.
people
Because
didn't.
I have a neighborhood that's dealing with that right now.
Right, or-
And they're constantly asking me in the streets, I mean, the neighborhood is 30 years in now, and the
Right.
streets are horrible, and I'm
Right.
like, we can't. So I was just
Right,
highlighting it, that's a warning, don't do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
do that.
So
I'm
if they
sorry.
start off as a gated community, can they change later? Or is
So-
it part, it's,
Right.
once it's gated, it's always?
Highly, you have to get 100% approval.
Yeah.
And the city has to be
And the-
willing to adopt
And the
this
city has to agree,
streets.
and I know that, and Terry and Paul will tell you that neighborhoods come to them.
Yep.
Will ask after, you
Yeah.
know, they've not had a homeowners association to maintain it over time and it's in bad shape, so
Yeah.
that's,
I have a huge
That's-
neighborhood like that.
It can be done, but it's
It's
highly,
rough.
highly
Right.
doubtful.
Has the,
I think it's just good for conversation at the table about
Yeah.
that.
is there like been conversation with the developer to say, do you wanna just do regular streets or public streets, or?
Well, they have to do it now.
Well, if it's gonna be part, yeah, if it's part of the ODP in there, and I don't know why they wanted to do private streets necessarily, but that's the concept that they went with.
Well, remember,
Isn't that obvious?
but the issue, the issue to the west for that public streeted neighborhood is that they have lots of parents stacking up in that neighborhood, dropping off their kids because Jinx Middle School is just right across the street.
People like Reagan now.
So we were trying to deal with that in the last ODP,
Right.
because that is Grand Central Station on
Well,
Monday through
at
Friday, twice.
8 o'clock and 3 o'clock.
All the schools are like that. It's
Oh, I know,
pitiful.
yeah.
All right, anyone else? All right, thank you so much, Susan. Okay, how about we get the party started?
I think the budget items will go very quickly if we can
You
take.
think?
Yes, I do.
So we should do that instead of the
Think-
hotel motel?
You, most of the budget items you've already
Look at
approved in the
Krista going,
budget.
yes.
This is just an
We're gonna
actual-
save, yeah, we're gonna save this for last. All right, well, then let's do it then. Let's go back to, number 3, item number 3. Ordinance amending the fiscal year 26-27 budget to make supplemental appropriations of $100,000 recognized from unappropriated fund balance within the long-range capital projects fund. This has to do with maintaining our Route 66 assets, especially the welcome sign. Jared is here with us.
Pleasure to be here, Jared from Budget. I'll be super fast with these for you because you've already pseudo-approved half of them already. So in the FY27 adopted budget, the council approved $100,000 to go to these asset maintenance funds. And so this is just, that approved moving the money to this long-term bucket. This is appropriating it to that use now in the long-term bucket. So it's just doing exactly what council approved in the FY27 budget.
Any comments?
My God,
Say it again?
my God.
No, okay, great. All right. Number 4, ordinance amending the fiscal year 26-27 budget to make supplemental appropriations of $1 million recognized from unappropriated fund balance within the long-range capital capital projects fund. This has to do with the 1921 Graves investigations.
Yes, sir. Same story as the last one. The FY27 budget approved this $1 million from the general fund as a transfer. We transferred it to this Fund 479 Long Range Capital. So this is now appropriating it to put in place for that use.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Any questions? All right. Oh, we're passing out some envelopes. Is there money in those envelopes? No, I'm just joking. Okay, thank you. Number 5, ordinance amending the fiscal year 26-27 budget to transfer unencumbered and unexpended appropriations of $530,430 between departments and account groups within the 2016 Vision Economic Development Capital Project Subfund. This has to do with citywide and Route 66 beautification reinvestment.
This is just related to the, it's kind of administrative in nature, related to the 26 reorg, planning and how kind of culture and parks took over more of the capital. This is just moving the money back from culture and parks over to the planning office and neighborhood planning. And the scope project, nothing about it changes whatsoever, just a different department managing it.
Okay. Any questions, concerns? All right, very good. Item number 6, ordinance amending fiscal year 26-27 to make supplemental appropriations of $237,200 recognized from grant revenues to be received from the Office of the District Attorney within the Public Safety and Protection Non-Federal Grant Subfund.
This is a pseudo-regular award that the police department receives from the revolving drug fund with the the Office of the DA, and it is just to pay the ongoing operations of the Special Investigation Division, that facility, their software costs, training costs, education, and such.
Any comments, questions? All right, it was quick.
Promise.
Very good. Thank you so much, Jared and Kristen, and everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Now it's time. It's time. Let's talk about, item number 13, resolution calling for and requesting the election board to conduct a nonpartisan special election, November 3rd, 2026, for the purpose of submitting to the qualified voters of the city of Tulsa in accordance with Oklahoma State statute, the question of rather City of Tulsa ordinance number 25830, increasing the levy of the excise tax upon the gross proceeds or gross receipts derived from the rent from every occupancy of a room or rooms in a hotel in this city will go from 5% to 9.9, shall be approved giving notice to the Tulsa County Election Board of said elections pursuant to the Oklahoma statutes. Is that good enough?
You can read all their hotel items, there's 3 of them.
Okay. And number 14, ordinance of the City of Tulsa amending the TRO Title 44, titled City of Tulsa Hotel Code, Tax Code, Chapter 1, entitled City of Tulsa Hotel Tax Code, subsection A, by increasing the levy of excise tax upon the gross proceeds or gross receipts derived from the rent of every occupancy of a room or rooms in this city from 5 to 9.9, providing for severability. Number 15, ordinance of the City of Tulsa amending the TRO Title 44, City of Tulsa Tax Code, Chapter 1, titled City of Tulsa Tax Code, Section 118, titled Creation of Funds to set the allocation of revenue as of January 1st, 2027 and January 1st, 2031, and as the end of the month in which full repayment is made of the 2 capital improvement bonds anticipated to be issued by the TPFA for renovations and upgrades of the Arvis Convention Center and BOK Center, or any associated refunding bonds, providing for severability. This was brought to us with the emergency clause on all of them by Bangle, Gilbert, Lakin, and Bellis.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up. So, these 3 items on our agenda today are related to the hotel guest tax. We have been working on this initiative around this table as a team for several months, and we are now coming back after a brief break from our committee discussions while we finalize the city's annual budget. Today we have a presentation and recommendations for you on these items. Just as a reminder, for the public, the hotel guest tax is not a sales tax on everyday purchases that we Tulsans make, like groceries and clothes and stuff like that. So it is a tax that is assessed only on guests staying in hotels, motels, short-term rentals. When we invest in tourism, our return is simple: more people visit Tulsa. Visitors are critical to our city, our economy, as their spending naturally provides an increased sales tax revenue that funds Tulsa's needs like our roads, public safety, and city core services. So we can really achieve some of our local goals by spending other people's money. Yay! It is important to note that hotel guest tax has been around for a long time. In fact, the rate 5% has not changed in over 40 years. This means that Tulsa is falling behind our other Oklahoma communities, many of which have a rate almost double Tulsa's current rate. We have been studying what should be the best rate to achieve our goals in today's presentation. We'll review that work, and then we will discuss a proposal. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to begin our presentation, and then to Counselor Lakin with review on specifics of the proposal. But before I do that, I want to thank our many partners who have worked on this project with us from the get-go. And they are here today, Tulsa Chamber and Visit Tulsa, Keller Taylor with Oakview Group, our hotel partners and leadership board from the Metro Tulsa Hotel and Lodging Association, and members of the Public Facility Authority, Anna America, our Deputy City Administrator, who was also called earlier as Counselor America, so she wears many hats. Christy from our finance team, our legal department, Jack and Caroline, thank you. But I also want to thank our council staff, especially Sarah, for their hard work, diligence, and commitment in helping us reach this point. So, thank you very much, keeping us on track. Sometimes that's very hard to do, so thanks.
It's easy all the time.
Generous.
Here we go.
This is the benefit of 2 weeks off.
Yes.
We have a fresh
Yeah,
start.
I've never experienced that.
Yeah, so now I will turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you. Just a quick procedural step. I know our printed copy counselors have their copies, but if anybody else wants a copy of the presentation printed, I do have some. Do you want, anybody else want one? Okay.
Printed counselors.
Yeah, you're the printed counselors, the three.
The
We have three. We have,
Counselors.
yeah, our
Wanna
recycling.
say we do recycle.
I went to a paper-free college.
Oh, wow.
Well, good
That's
for you.
Adjusted to no printing.
very,
Millennial Gen
We didn't have any other options when I went to college.
So I've only used a fax
We use
machine once, moving
typewriters.
on.
very modern of you. Okay, so like Counselor Gilbert.
No
Yeah.
college rule paper.
No, I don't have that. Okay, so like Counselor Gilbert said, we are gonna spend just a little bit more time than normal recapping some of our work. Felt like that was important in this, because ultimately the public is the person that gets to make the decision in this, so we wanna make sure they have all the information, in case this is the first day they're watching on this, that you all have been given in this process. And so I promise I'll try to go, though, a little bit faster. So after the review, though, Counselor Lakin will go over the proposal, and then I'll loop back at the end real fast to just talk about next steps. So the slide on the screen really represents your kind of formal process related to the hotel tax. So that began back in January, but really kind of began before that. In the 2025 Mayor Council Retreat, you guys set a goal to establish a long-term funding solution for your tourism and your facility efforts related to tourism. And then Counselor Bellis and Counselor Bengal did a lot of work with our hotel association to kind of clean up some of our ordinances, so it was really clear on what the definitions were and some of the exemptions. So once that preliminary work was done, you started your process. That process included a deep dive into the facility needs. We went on a special meeting tour, and we're joined by several members of the public on that tour. We took some time to understand the role of tourism in our community, how it impacts our economy, how we compared to other similar communities. We have a public engagement that we went through, stakeholder meetings as well, and then we took some time to refine the proposal. So we're at this point today discussing the proposal where the star is on the chart on that slide. So just a reminder, Counselor Gilbert did a good job explaining what hotel tax is and isn't, and primarily historically we have used hotel tax in order to invest in our city facilities that are kind of those economic generators. So those include the BOK Center, Arvest Convention Center, and the Performing Arts Center. We've invested in promoting tourism and marketing so that people come to our community, and we've recruited some major events over time to achieve those tourism goals. And then also there have been various economic development initiatives supported over time. In addition to these direct benefits, hotel tax has the opportunity to increase our sales tax generation through that visitor spending, which lets us take care of things like roads, public safety, and parks. So reviewing quickly what we learned from our tourism, in 2023, $1.43 billion was spent by visitors, averaging close to $4 million a day. In that same year, about 10 million visitors were welcomed to Tulsa. And then thinking about just our local impact in the community, there's about 16,000 jobs that are supported by tourism activity. Tourism, I think, is the third largest economic industry in our state. And so many of our neighbors might be in this industry, and their livelihood may be supported by this. On a more granular level, our conversation showed us that for every dollar we invest, so from our hotel dollars into our contracts to invest in tourism, there is a return of $162 economic impact. That is from direct business sales, sales tax revenue, and different labor incomes. And then the other part of time we spent was really talking about our facilities, and you'll see from the numbers on this slide, the economic impact of our city-owned facilities is, I mean, huge is the word to describe with that. And so they bring in tons of visitors, 1 million visitors a year, and had $143 million economic impact last year. Those same facilities, though, have not had major renovations, at least the BOK has not had major renovations since it opened in 2008. If you think about what was going on in 2008, that is when the first generation iPhone came forward. So since that time, the BOK has stayed still with its technology, and Apple has generated 51 new models of that iPhone since that time. So that is what our visitors experience today, is that I think it was a 2G phone was the first one. It wasn't even 3G capable. And so you can see when we had members of our facilities authority come talk to us, they talked about, imagine 1 million people coming through your home every year, and the wear and tear that would put on. So that's what these pictures represent, that visitor wear and tear on the facility. Similar to the visitor experience, this is the back of house experience, or the behind the scenes experience. You will see that there's some pretty critical sound equipment repairs needed when we recruit these major performances and artists and teams to this facility. These are the very welcoming locker rooms that they get to enjoy. The routine maintenance, the city has done some improvements to incorporate some of that in our contract. And so what we're talking about with use of these funds are those major capital improvements, and those types of improvements that any facility that's been operating for 20 years really needs. And so as part of your follow-up to your tour, you talked with TPFA, I think our finance department, and Oakview Group, about how could we accomplish these capital improvements for Arvis Center and BOK sooner rather than later. And the option that was presented was utilizing revenue bonds. There are about 4, the project needs are broken down into 4 phases, but those total $128 million. We do have some available funds from IOT3. There were some included in that package, and then there's also the reserve or the venue profits that have been put aside, and that is helping fund some of these improvements as well. So the gap is about $80 million, and that is what we would consider using revenue bonds to fund. Running alongside kind of your policy consideration, there's been public engagement throughout the process. So we've had a website the entire time that if anybody wants to go back and watch any of these presentations, they are welcome to click those links or get any of the materials that were handed out during any of the meetings. We've had an online contact form, and then we also had a town hall at the end of March. The town hall really focused, when you think about the decision points that you all as a council make about tourism and investing in facilities, the town hall really focused on that first decision point, which is calling the election. So to call the election, you need to establish a percent, you need an election date, and you need those high-level uses, so like economic development and tourism for your ballot language. At the town hall and through different stakeholder inquiries, the vast majority of your questions have really landed in that second bucket, which is really how you're going to divide something up. So if you think of the first bucket as a pizza, currently we have like a personal pan size pizza. In the first bucket, you're deciding, there's no deep crust in this. So the first bucket, you're deciding how big of a pizza are we going to explore. The second bucket is really how are you going to slice that into the different funds. So those are those decisions. Currently, that's governed by an ordinance in our tax code in Title 44. And so that is one of the ordinances on your agenda today. And then the third bucket is really an annual decision. Who carries out the programs, so the council has that decision from a budgetary standpoint of what to appropriate from a program perspective. And then the mayor has contracting authority. And these programs, depending on what they are, have been carried out by external entities, internal departments. It really depends on the program and the use. So in listening to all that feedback, the discussion at the table, the proposal really had, process had three goals. We want to develop a proposal that invests in growing and maintaining the city's key tourism facilities, those mentioned on that initial slide. Increasing our resources for tourism and marketing. So we saw that previous slide that for every dollar we put in, the economic impact can be $162. And then this was one really I heard a lot from counselors, serve as good stewards of public funds. And that means being competitive on your hotel rate. It means really capitalizing on visitor spending so we don't rely on our local tax base to account for all of our needs in the community that we have, and then reducing our debt payment. So if we do have revenue bonds, the faster we are able to pay those bonds, the less debt we will have to pay, and that will help you all preserve those public funds for these really important projects. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. You all know that we've talked about a bunch of different numbers whenever we were going through this process with our partners. So again, facilities, hoteliers, Visit Tulsa, council, mayor, directors of different departments. We really needed to do a lot of what-if analysis. So there's a lot of levers that we were able to pull and look at during this analysis. Whenever we started to think through it, we knew we needed a really bold, robust spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, we needed somebody who had the expertise to give us good, sound information from which we could make our decisions. So the chamber hired Tourism Economics, which produced a baseline spreadsheet that provided the growth numbers and all the estimates that we needed. We then took that spreadsheet and started saying, well, what if the hotel tax was 9.25%? What if Visit Tulsa got 40%, then 45%, then 50%? What if we could pay the bonds back more quickly? Could we save money? And it turns out that just moving back and forth with numbers in about 3 different meetings got us to a place where we are today. So what we're proposing is to go from 5% to 9.9%. We believe the 9.9% keeps us in a good place from a psychological standpoint. 9% is different than 10%. We don't need 10 or 11 or 12%. We don't believe in order to do the things that we need to do. The things that we need to do, again, is to bond the costs related to building out our public facilities, the BOK Center, RVest, and continuing to fund PAC-related things. We have to continue to invest in Vision Tulsa because every dollar we put into Vision Tulsa provides a very robust return. We had a lever of an opening date for the convention hotel, so how can we put more money toward Visit Tulsa activities earlier rather than later, because the convention hotel is supposed to open in 2032. Same thing with the PGA. The PGA will be in Tulsa in 2032. Visit Tulsa has a lot of work to do between now and then. The earlier they can start, the better off we all are. And then last, as I've already said, how quickly can we pay that bond back? If we pay it back more quickly, we could save hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars that we keep in Tulsa rather than sending it off to an international or a national bank based way outside of the state of Oklahoma. So what we're presenting to you today, go back one, is just moving from 5% to 9.9%, which basically doubles the amount generated. You know when the public vote is, and this would be effective if approved by the voters on January the 1st of next year. And then the levers that we worked with that met the approval of Visit Tulsa, the hoteliers, the counselors, and those represented by the city of Tulsa in the room was to do 40% for Visit Tulsa from January 1st, 2027 until January 1st, 31, then move that up to 45%, then after the bond is paid back to 50%. There is a little bit of overlap with the TID, so the TID should provide a distribution throughout the 2027 calendar year of about $3 million, which will give us a little bit of a buffer or a bridge so that Visit Tulsa actually has $1 million more to use for a 3-year period until we get to 31. So for those of our partners in the room, everybody said, hey, this is the best possible option that we could create with the numbers and the data that we have. I'll be the first to say that there's a lot of assumptions made in that spreadsheet. There's a lot of growth numbers that we didn't input, the tourism economics input. We don't know what the bond rate's going to be when we go out and issue those bonds for the renovation of the facilities. But our best estimates is that this will work best and in the most balanced way for the various entities that we have that will benefit from this, and then ultimately create really rich investments back into the city and cause visitors to come here and spend that $4 million a day, which we've already been briefed on. Any questions about that process, those numbers? Any additional comments from my colleagues that were part of this?
You did a great job. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Questions? I think I may have one, but very good presentation. I appreciate it. I was curious how we got to the 9.9. My question, in the backup in the document we read, we said that Tulsa Public Facilities Authority for the renovation and upgrade of RVest, BOK, and other associated refunding bonds. So when I think about the facilities, I think about it as like a bucket. Inside you have the RVest, you have BOK, Tulsa PAC. Is the future motel, the future hotel connected to the convention center a part of that bucket as well?
So the convention hotel, the fourth phase of capital improvement renovations for RVest could be related, to a convention hotel there. But that's probably why that series of bonds gets issued later.
Okay.
Until that plan is finalized. Does that help
Well,
answer your question
so
there?
so part of this revenue could help us to sustain or to,
Not quite in the same way.
Okay.
So these revenue bonds would be to pay for the BOK updates and the harvest updates.
so only those two?
If there is a convention hotel, there could be a package that has like a hotel tax rebate type thing. But we're still working through some of those, and remember there's the difference between privately owned and publicly owned hotels, so still
Right.
working through those. But the revenue bonds that were in the presentation, that 80 million, that's for BOK and Arvest Center improvements.
Okay.
Well, but to your line of questioning, so if we're gonna be paying for $80 million worth of renovations to those two facilities with revenue from this hotel tax, there will be a time when we're not repaying those bonds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but that could be 10 years from now, that could be 16 years from now. It just depends on a lot of things that we try to incorporate into the spreadsheets. But if you change the number by 25 basis points, by 1/4%, you get a totally different outcome. So we've done our best, and that's really the best anybody's gonna be able to do.
All right, that's good. Anyone else, counselors?
Yeah, just following up on your comment, so this convention hotel, we don't even know
That's a
what,
unknown.
I mean, I thought there was gonna be an outside developer doing that.
Yes.
Has that been decided? We're not gonna
No,
pay for that.
we're still in that process.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
still
a
not processed.
long way.
So that's
not
really not a part of
into
this conversation?
No.
No,
Except
just
for-
if the convention hotel happens, it would be opening, the projected opening date is in 2032. And we were really listening to Visit Tulsa saying, hey, the more money we have, the better we're able to bring people into Tulsa. And if there's 300 or 400 more rooms,
That helps.
because of the convention hotel, then it helps them sell more of Tulsa because there's more capacity in the city. But capacity is coming through things other than that convention hotel possibility.
Anyone else? Oh,
If there aren't any other questions, I was just gonna go over kind of the procedural next steps. So there's 2 ordinances, 1 resolution. The resolution is the resolution calling the election, and they all have emergency clauses on them. The 2 ordinances, one reflects the 9.9% rate, the other ordinance reflects that phased approach, that was on the previous slide. And so the ordinances will be on first reading tonight, and with your all's permission, on the 22nd for a vote on both of those ordinances and the resolution. The election, would be called for November 3rd.
Okay.
That is it, unless somebody has a question.
Counselor Engel.
Yeah, so obviously, I'm just gonna echo what my other colleagues said. Thank you for all the work from all our partners, them, our spreadsheet nerd who really did a great job. I mean, as I'm sitting there watching, as he talked
That's
about
Karen.
just that 1%, or that, just a shift in the percentage changed some of the outcome. There were things that we're just not gonna be able to predict. So that spreadsheet was the best tool that we had to kind of figure out how this formula might work out. So I do want to emphasize 2 things that are important to me. One is the potential of paying these bonds off sooner, right? Which is a savings to our citizens. And then, of course, the not making this investment or going to this level, number one, doesn't make us competitive, but anybody that comes into our facilities, that's the impression they leave with. And so we have to make this investment. So I hope the citizens understand this isn't, like Counselor Gilbert said, a tax at the grocery store or tax anything. This is our visitors paying that tax, and we're spending their money on our facilities and making those investments so that we can get them back into town to spend more of their money, and we just create that repetitive cycle. So I appreciate the work of everybody to get to this.
Oh, very good.
Just real quick clarification, the spreadsheet nerd was my 11-month-old grandson.
Actually, he did do a lot of
he
the
was.
work.
Oh, was he messing with it on the?
He was in-
That's how, he just said 9-9.
He was verbal in several meetings with important takes.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was not a quorum.
Counselor.
I will say, just to Counselor Bingle's point, you know, there's other ways to go about renovating the BOK Center and the Convention Center. But I don't think there's other ways to do that without taxing our own citizens.
Yeah, this is it.
And so they have to be renovated. There is no doubt, we cannot live on technology that was created and installed at the same time that the first iPhone was being rolled out. That just doesn't make any sense. So we have to update it. We have to update the seats. We have to update the convention center. Those are cash cows for us. They are helping to repave our streets. They are helping to do everything that our citizens are asking us to do. So this is the best mechanism to do it. We are actually just saying, hey, if you're coming in and using our facilities in Tulsa, you're gonna pay a little bit more of that. So you do, so they're getting to use nice facilities, but we as citizens are getting to use nice facilities as well.
Yeah.
So it's a real big benefit for us.
Counselor.
Yeah, no, I wanted to echo everything my colleagues said and thank everyone for, this has been such, as was emphasized at the beginning, such an intentional, collaborative, deliberate process. Even prior to the months where we were all coming together, including with so many stakeholders, to really do deep dives on the finances with so much precision. Even prior to that, I got to work with people in this room and colleagues at the table to revise the existing lodging tax exemptions and things like that more than once. And, you know, really making sure we were bringing stakeholders along with us. And I do wanna highlight again what Councilor Lakin just mentioned, that, it's really hard when we're looking to find funding for really critical city assets and resources, especially in a moment where there's, such an affordability crisis and so many people are struggling to make basic payments. And I'm so grateful that we've been able to really intentionally, with a great deal of precision, leverage this mechanism that's not more of a cost burden on families that are struggling. And so I'm just excited to see what this can generate. And I want to reemphasize, what was that ROI number for every dollar invested in tourism? $162. That comes back right into our city's economy. So that's just really exciting. And I'm really grateful for everyone's patience throughout the process. And Sarah, thank you so much for all of your cohesive collaborative work. You've carried this and we couldn't have done it without you.
Council staff did a lot of work in this as well.
Well, also,
So,
yeah, Megan's phenomenal design
Yes.
work,
Marissa, too.
Marissa's design work and policy research, and of course, Phil's spreadsheet, but most importantly, an 11-month-old who really was the cheerleader.
What is between now and November, how are we communicating with the public?
So we'll, as city employees, we still continue to provide information. And so if anybody has questions, we'll still continue to leave those avenues on the board active. So if somebody has a question, I've answered some questions for people that have emailed in. And then also, we aren't involved in any sort of formal campaigns because we just want to provide information to the public from there.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Anyone else? Well, it wasn't that long of a meeting, I think, hour and a half.
Pretty well.
It was pretty good.
First one after 2 weeks.
That's
Should have
right.
all done more grandstanding.
Maybe. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. We'll be back at 2:30. But with that, our last item, we are adjourned.